What is up, guys? Today I'm going to teach you how to solve the Pyraminx. Now the Pyraminx is very easy. It's a lot easier than a 3x3. And before we scramble it up and solve it, I need to point out some key things. First off, these edge pieces are the only scramblable pieces in the whole cube, and there are like 6 of them. And these pieces here are the center pieces, and just like on a regular 3x3, no matter how I turn these tips, these pieces will always stay in their correct positions. And the same thing goes for the tips too. This tip is attached to the centerpiece, and same with all the other tips. So these tips are pretty much trivial, and they always solve automatically. Now let me go over how we're going to solve this puzzle. It's 3 easy steps because, like I said, this is a very easy puzzle. The first step is we're going to solve these centerpieces. The second step is we're going to solve a full side, and the final step is we're going to solve this final tip. So anyways, let's scramble it up and we'll get going. Alright, that looks pretty good. So let's get to the tutorial. Now before we get on to the first step, real quick I want to mention, I left out these tips in the method overview. Like I said, these tips are bandaged to the centers. So what you can really do is you can treat the tips like your first step. And just for the sake of clarity and to make this tutorial a lot more easier to understand, I'm going to go ahead and do those tips now. So let's do this one. There's the other one. There's our third one, and our fourth one. Alright, so now the tips are done, now we can go on to our first step, which is to solve these 3 centerpieces. What we first want to do is pick a color we want to start with. I usually start with yellow because it's the easiest to spot in my opinion, and what we want to do is you want to put 3 yellow centerpieces on one side. So here's one, let's move this one down, there's 2, and now here's the third one. As you can see, that was a very easy step, but let me show you one case you can run into. Okay, so this is the case that I was talking about. You can see I have 2 yellow pieces solved already, but as you can see, if we turn this tip does not have any yellow in it whatsoever. So that tells us this side shouldn't be yellow, and what should be yellow is the side underneath it. So what we have to do is you have to take these 2 yellow pieces and turn them down to the side underneath it. Like that. So now we have our 2 pieces here, and if we turn this tip, you can see there's our third yellow centerpiece. So there we go. We're done with step 1, and we can move on to solving these 3 pieces. Now to solve these 3 pieces, what we need to do is we have to hold the solved centerpieces on top and bring the edge pieces in. So let's find a yellow edge piece on this tip. Here's 2 actually, here's one right here. This is the yellow and blue. So let's see, it needs to go up here. So we put the piece in front of us, and we could just simply turn it up if we want to. But as you can see, it wrecks our centers. So to properly put a piece in its spot, we don't take the stairs. We take the elevator. So with the yellow side facing you, it waits for the elevator goes down, loads the piece, and the elevator goes back up. Notice as we did that, we didn't disturb our center positions. That elevator technique I didn't come up with. It was invented by a guy named Lucaten. I give full credit to him. So anyways, let's move on to our other 2 pieces. As you can see, this slot needs a yellow and a green edge piece. So let's look for that in the bottom. I don't see it anywhere. So that would mean that the yellow-green edge piece is in this slot on the top. So what we have to do first is you have to get this edge piece out and down to the bottom. But what I would rather do is I would put the piece that belongs here, in this case the yellow and the red, and that way this edge piece in the process can come back down here to the bottom. So it's pretty much killing 2 birds with 1 stone. So let's find the yellow and red piece. It is down here, so let's turn it underneath the yellow and the red spot. And then you do exactly the same thing with yellow facing you. Waits for the elevator goes down, loads the piece, and the elevator goes back up. So there we go. Not only did we solve this piece, it also brought the other piece down to the bottom. So we can solve it like normally. So let's put yellow in the front, and then we could do our algorithm for the final time. Waits for the elevator goes down, loads the piece, and the elevator goes back up. And there we go. We have solved a full side, and now we can go ahead and solve our final tip, which it's already solved. I got pretty lucky. Now if you didn't get as lucky as me, your final tip should look like this. Now this final tip requires 2 algorithms. The first algorithm will cycle 3 pieces around, and the second algorithm will flip this front edge and this back edge. Now the first algorithm that I mentioned is actually very, very similar to the Sune and Anti-Sune algorithms, except there's no 2U because it's a three-sided puzzle. So the first thing we have to do on this final tip is we have to place the edge pieces in their correct spots. Now most of the time you'll have to do this on the final tip anyway, but sometimes you have to do both procedures, which I'll go through now. Now before we put these three pieces in the correct spots, we have to determine which goes where. So as you can see, this green and red goes here, this blue and red goes up here, and this green and blue goes down here. So what we need to do in this case is the Anti-Sune. So what we have to do is we can hold the cube in any position we want as long as the solved side is on the bottom, and then we do the Anti-Sune, which is R, U prime, R prime, U prime, R, U prime, R prime. And as you can see, we have placed the edges in their correct spots, and now all we have to do is flip this edge and this edge. Now half the time you can get cases like this, like I just showed you. So to solve this case, what we need to do is do the second algorithm, and that algorithm is best described by using hand motions instead of the normal Rubik's Cube notation. So how the algorithm works, like I said, is it will flip this front edge and this back edge. So to do the algorithm, what you need to do is you have to take your right hand and grab this right tip, and take your other hand and grab the top. Then we're going to bring the right side down and back, take your hand off, go over to this tip, down and back. Keeping your hand on this tip, you want to go up and forward. Now go back to this tip, up and forward. And as you can see, we have flipped these two edges, and we have solved the Pyraminx. So as you can tell, this is a very, 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 very easy puzzle. Even your friends can figure it out. So anyways, that's how you solve the Pyraminx. Thank you all for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up and please share with your friends and family. And if you haven't, subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss an upload from me. Until next time, toodles!